Hi, I'm Sky from Sunny Girl Cakes, and today I'm going to teach you how to cover a cake with fondant. So what you're going to need to cover the cake with fondant is a turntable, and I've got my little bit of paper towel to make sure that it doesn't move around, a ready ganache cake, which we did in the last video. You'll need some sugar paste or fondant, as I refer to it as. It's not marzipan, it has no almond flavour. You'll also need some corn flour for dusting, pizza cutter, serrated knife, some boiling water and a brush, some smoothers. These are some little acupuncture pins and my trusty little level. The other very important tool that you'll need is your rolling pin. The first thing I'm going to do is cut off the amount of fondant I need to cover my cake. I would recommend about 800 grams for an 8-inch cake, which is what I'm doing today. Although it doesn't hurt to cut off a little bit more to be on the safe side. I'm going to go with about that much. I'm going to make sure that there's no dry bits on the side. If there is any dry or cracked corners, you can just chop them off because they're not going to roll back into your fondant. And then I'm going to put it aside until I'm ready to roll it out. Next, I'm going to brush my cake with boiling hot water, and this is going to help the fondant adhere to the surface of the cake. So I'm actually putting quite a little bit of water on there because I don't want to over brush it, but I want to make sure that all surfaces are wet. I don't want to end up with a puddle in the middle, but I don't want there to be any spots where there's not water. Around the sides, making sure the corners are getting wet as well. If it drips down to the baseboard, that's okay because I'm going to clean it up before we roll the fondant on. Doesn't hurt to brush in both directions because then it'll make sure that you've completely covered the cake with water. Okay, once it's covered, I'm going to rub around the edges with my paper towel to ensure that I get all that excess water up. I'm going to move the cake to the side and prepare my area for rolling out the fondant. Now, water and fondant don't mix, so you need to make sure there's no water on your bench before you start rolling out, or your hands. Okay, so firstly, I'm going to dust my bench with some corn flour. I'm going to take my fondant that I cut off earlier and I'm going to gently knead it. With fondant, you need to work reasonably quick as it can dry out in the air. Once I've kneaded my fondant a little bit and it starts to feel really nice and soft, then it's ready to roll out. What I do is then I brush it through the corn flour so that there's a little bit of corn flour on top, but ensuring that there's still enough corn flour on the bench. Taking my rolling pin, and this is where the workout begins. I'm rolling and turning my fondant. This ensures that you're getting an even roll. I do this with my arms because I find it works better and you get more power. So again, once it starts to get bigger like this, you can flip it back over your rolling pin, change the direction and roll it back out again. So I'll keep rolling until I've got it about, I think it's about 2 or 3 mils. I'll show you when I'm happy. Okay, when I'm happy with, I think that's about right. What I'm going to do is just run over it with my smoother Make sure that it's beautiful and smooth. Maybe I'll just give it one more roll on this way. So that's about how thick it needs to be. And now I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to roll it back over my rolling pin, move my cake into position, and drape it over the top. This is where we need to work pretty quickly to ensure that the icing doesn't dry out. So as you can see, I've draped it over the cake, and what I'm going to do now is try and smooth out the top to make sure there's no air bubbles. I do this with my smoother, but I also like to do it with my hand because then I can actually feel if there's any air bubbles. And what I'm doing is kind of pushing them to the side and lifting up the side to try and get them out. If we've got any stubborn ones, I will use my trusty acupuncture needles to get them out later. Okay, once the top's done, you need to work rather quickly in securing the sides. So what I'm doing is I'm just pulling the fondant away and then securing it down. But I'm not pulling it too hard because I don't want to create cracks or tears. Turning and smoothing at the same time. I keep turning and smoothing until I work my way to the base. So by pulling it out like this, it's helping me to get a smooth finish, and then that way I'm not getting any folds or creases in my fondant. You just keep patiently working your way around. Once you've got to the bottom, give it a last seal, and with my hands I feel like I'm more confident working with my own tools. Then I grab my smoother again and I'll just press it down to ensure that it's sealing at the bottom. Okay, so we've got all this excess fondant we want to cut off. I've got a pizza cutter and I'm just going to run slowly around the edges. I want to do it in one move, you don't have to. When I lift this off, I just double check that it hasn't got any chocolate on it because I can reuse that. So I'll reuse that. You can see here there's a little bit of chocolate ganache. We don't want to reuse that bit. We'll chuck that out. Keep going around. So I'll put that away straight away so that it doesn't dry out, and we can use that another time. Those scrap bits are perfect for covering your board later on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is just give it a smooth around with your smoother. You need to be careful that if you've got any chocolate on the board, that you don't end up with that on your cake, because that would end in disaster. So I'm smoothing it around with my smoother, smoothing the top. I'm putting a little bit of pressure, not too much, just a little bit. And then I'm going to use my trusty sharp edge, sharp top edge. I'm going to run around the edges. And by putting pressure on this, I'm creating a sharp top edge. So now I can see under these glaring lights a few little air bubbles occurring. So there's one just there. And there's another one just happening here. Don't worry, it happens to the best of us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use these little acupuncture needles. The reason I use these is because they are so tiny that they don't leave very much of a hole, which is fantastic. So I can see here I have a bubble. So I'm just going to prick a hole there, and then I can smooth the air out of that hole. So here we have a little bubble on this side as well, so I'm just going to again use my, I can see another one there, use my smoother. So I've pricked the little hole with the acupuncture needle and then run over it with the smoother. So I don't spend too much time on this because I think if you do, you can cause either a dent on the top or a dent on the side. I just run around with it gently, and it just creates that lovely smooth edge. And then again with this smoother. So that's pretty much finished. So both cakes are now covered with fondant. In my next video, I'm going to show you how to apply gold leaf to the smaller tier. And then in videos after that, I'm going to show you how to cover the board and stack the two tiers on top of one another.
For photos of my beautiful designs, please check me out on Instagram at Sunnygirl Cakes and also on Facebook.